Welcome to Surfside Stories. I am very happy to have here in the studio today one of, if not the best radio DJ. He's won I don't know how many awards for radio DJ, for best radio station, best internet DJ, best internet station. The man has been an absolute history lesson in what to do with beach music. He's taught a lot of us. And I want to say right now, and I've said this many times, for all of us that love beach music and for those of us that produce beach music, if we didn't have DJs like you, we would have nothing. You guys are what carry beach music forward, and thank you for all you've done.
Well, thank you, Wayne.
But here's what we want to do today. Everybody knows Ray Scott now. We know who he is, what you do. We hear you every Friday. We hear you every day on the radio. Friday Deck Party is probably one of the largest listened to events going on in beach music of any kind. So how did you get into beach music? First of all, how did you get into radio? And then how did you transition, or did you start out in beach music? Start at the beginning. Tell me the story.
Well, actually, Wayne, I did not. I'm one of the late bloomers into the business. I was 38 years old before I started DJing and doing in the business. But I come from a family that had a little music background in my mother's side of the family. My dad was from Gary, Indiana, and my mother was from Monroe, North Carolina. And back during World War II, there was a Army base there in Monroe called Camp Sutton. It was one of the biggest ones here anywhere for training for the soldiers to go to World War II. Yeah. And my dad was sent there to be in training. And my mother sang in the band that played at the USO Club and a couple of the other little honky-tonk things there.
Don't tell me. Oh, I got to hear this.
Back in those days. And my mom and dad met, and after a few months of dating, my dad was going to be shipped overseas, and he said, I don't want to lose you, so I want to marry you. And so they got married, and then my dad was shipped over to Normandy for 2.5 years.
Wow.
So when they came back, they decided to go to my dad's hometown of Gary, and that's where my sister and I were born. But when I was 3, they said, let's get out of here. Let's go south.
I thought you had been in Monroe.
Let's go to your hometown. And so we moved to Monroe, where my mother was from. And my uncle, Bill Benton, was one of the owners of WMAP, 1060 AM radio, which AM was the big dog back then because there wasn't any FM.
Yes.
Every town had an AM station, around. And so my mother went to work for my uncle at the radio station, doing the logs and doing the writing commercials and doing things there. And so went there. This was her brother. And so I would once in a while go with my mom to the radio station. And so I knew music. I was into it. But I was more into sports when I was coming up, in the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old thing. I was into sports.
Oh, okay.
And played a little baseball. And then my dad joined Rolling Hills Country Club. I think you've played there before.
Oh, yes, I have.
And my dad took up golf, and so I started going out there with him, and I took up golf, and I got to where I really enjoyed golf. And I got a part-time job working with a pro when I was a junior in high school, picking up the range, washing clubs, running carts, and, doing that type thing, and played on the golf team in my high school, at Monroe High School, for my junior and senior year. And I really had the ambition of being a golf pro. And after a few years, I realized, hey, I'm not going to make the tour.
Okay.
If I stay in it and do happen to get to be a head pro, I'm going to work every weekend. I'm going to work holidays. I don't want to do that. Yeah. So I said, I got to do something else. And what am I going to do?
I think we've got a friend in common that was the national amateur champion from right there in Monroe. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
We both played golf with
Cliff Cunningham.
Yes.
And he won the United States Senior Amateur.
Yes.
I played a lot of golf with Cliff. He's one of the best players I've ever played with.
He is good. He's a good man, too.
He was a good fellow. I knew Cliff very, very, very well.
Anyway.
So Tommy Murray owned Murray Distributing Company, a food distributing company in Charlotte, and he played with my dad in a regular foursome every weekend. And one day we were standing there, and I was saying something about it, and he said, well, if you want a job, I'll give you a job. So I went to work for Murray Distributing Company in the food industry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's where I really did most of my work back in the early 70s. And we traveled. I traveled around a lot, and we'd be at these hotels where at that particular time a lot of the beach bands would be playing for a whole week here and there. There was a lot of them that were on the Sheraton circuit, the Holiday Inn circuit, and we would be there at these hotels. And
very common in that day.
I'd start seeing some of these bands. Well, in '77, I joined the Monroe Moose Lodge.
Oh,
And came into the lodge. I'm 48 years now, a Moose member, and we, we're there at the lodge. And one day, somebody said, "Ray, you know a lot about all these entertainers. How about taking the job as not the job, but committee job as entertainment chairman at the lodge?" So I started doing all the booking.
A job.
I started booking all the entertainment for the lodge, and we had about 3 big parties a year where they wanted a big band, And so the first year I did that, and I had Billy Scott and the Prophets.
Wow, that's a great way to start.
And so I got know Billy a little bit there. So the next year they said, "Well, let's see what we're going to do." Well, I want to hire a band for this next one, and we happened to go up to a place called Kidnappers on Old Pineville Road.
Don't remember that one.
You remember the Kidnappers on Old it was the old Johnny Dollars turned into Kidnappers. It turned into Kidnappers.
Okay.
And I went up there, and there was a group playing there called the Fantastic Shakers. And at the break, I walked up and I introduced myself and told him who I was. And he said, I said, "I'm Ray Scott." He said, "I'm Dino Fair."
Oh, wow.
And then we're standing next to him. He said, I'm Don Tetro. Don had to throw it in there. And I said, "Hey, Don." And I told him what I was interested in doing. And they said, "Well, you need to talk to our lead singer, Bo Schronis. He handles all that, and that's him right over there." And so I went over, and Bo was talking to some people. And a few minutes later, he stopped and looked over at me. And I introduced myself to Bo and said, "I'm Ray Scott." And he said, "I'm Bo Schronis." And we got together. I booked them for the party, for that big party. Booked the Shakers. And they played for it the next 7 years in a row. Bo and myself and all the Shaggy Boys, we got to be all real good friends. I traveled around a lot with them, and I got into that. And so that was part of how I started really associating with a lot of the bands. I got to meet a lot of the band people hanging out with the Shakers.
You started out with 2 of the best right there.
Yeah, right. And so in the late 80s, right going into the 90s, our company was sold. Murray was sold.
Yeah.
And a group out of New York bought the company. And I hate to say it, but they ruined our company.
Oh,
we were a family-run Carolina Southern company that had a lot of fun in our work. And they made it into the difference in where I loved going to work every day to where I hated going to work every day. And when that happens, money's not that important when you're not happy. And so I said, I just got to do something. I got to do something. Well, a friend of mine, Photo Dan, and his dad had bought the radio station that my uncle once owned, WMAP.
Oh, okay.
And I got to hanging out a little bit with Photo a little bit. And one day he said, "Come on, go with me. I got a DJ job." And I went with him. And we got to going and talking and doing. I said, "I'm so unhappy." And he said, "Well, heck, if you want to come to work, I'll put you on the air in the morning." And so lo and behold, I went into my boss and I turned in my resignation in December of '91. And I told him and he begged me not to leave. And I said, I can't go to work like this every day. So I took a $40,000 a year pay cut and went into the radio business. In 1992, I went into the radio DJ business in 1992.
Wow. That's still 30-some years ago.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's how it all got started with my first job, WMAP Radio, 1060 AM, doing the morning show. And then Fo did an afternoon show on Fridays called The Original Beach Party. And he said, "Why don't you take that over? You know everybody." So that's when I did the Friday afternoon on MAP, did Ray Scott's Original Beach Party.
So what was your first show then? Just your morning show?
It was the morning show, the WMAP morning show.
But just...
I was from 6 to 9 a.m.
Talk show?
No,
music?
We were music. We were oldies and beach.
Okay.
Oldies and beach, yeah. And of course, back then, the old small radio after me came on, Marvin Crook came on, and he did, the old shows where you call in and you sell stuff and you do talking shop and talk. And all that.
I remember those shows.
And he did a lot of those. And, back then, AM had a lot of different type styles of music. You didn't do 100% because you tried to capitalize all the audiences.
Okay. But you transitioned to the afternoon beach show.
Well, no, that was just on Friday afternoons. I did
Friday. Okay.
I did morning show 6 to 9, and then I did the Friday afternoon beach show. Friday afternoon beach show.
Now, how long was that show? 3 hours?
That was a 3-hour show. Yeah, I did it 3 hours, and so that started from that. And so anyway, as most all of us know, FM radio came in and really started pushing AM away,
Yeah.
and a lot of your national advertisers were leaving AM and going to FM, so that was a bulk of your income.
Yeah.
And everybody knew you all over that AM was beginning to die down. So I knew probably, this isn't going to last forever, and I'm going to have to do something. I didn't know what I was going to do. But I was DJing a lot back then for all the shag clubs around, the Monroe Shag Club, Lancaster Shag Club, York, Rock Hill, Boppers.
Did you start that before the radio or after the radio?
No, that was during the radio, when I first got into the radio.
Okay, you started DJing too?
DJing the radio, and then I got really into the DJ. From the radio, it got me into the DJ part of it.
Yeah,
I got because a lot of those listened to me, and I did a lot of the DJing for their monthly parties, and doing a lot of that. So I was one day got a phone call, and this was in 1998. Got a phone call, and it was Gary Bass.
Ooh, okay.
And Gary said, "Ray Scott?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Gary Bass." He said, "I've had a lot of people that's been down here talking and telling me," he said, "for SOS, I need to get that DJ from Monroe, Ray Scott, to come DJ at Fat Harold's. Would you be interested?" I said, "What?"
What?
The mega of all beach clubs where every DJ wants to play.
Yeah.
If you play at Fat Harold's, you're in the elite.
Yeah.
And I said,
you're in the in crowd.
You're doggone right I do. And so here comes SOS Spring Safari. Gary has me booked for that first Saturday night.
98. Okay.
I'm nervous as could be. Going to Fat Harold's, playing my first time, the prime time. He put me in the prime time, 9:00 on Saturday night. To see what I could do.
But that means you had a great reputation at the time. And people liked what you were doing.
And he wanted to see what I could do. And I'll never forget, I followed Wilkie Whaley.
Okay.
Wilkie's a Hall of Famer. He was president associated at one time. And I followed him, and I was getting there. I said, "Wilkie, I'm nervous as could be." He said, "Just get up and do your thing, kid. Just do your thing." And I did. And the next day, Harold told Gary, said, "Dang, we had a hell of a Saturday night." Said, "Book him some more." So the next thing I knew, Gary was booking me into Harold's, and I would come down from Monroe and do all the SOSs and do everything. And I was getting to a point where I got to find something to do, and I don't know what I can do. And a friend of mine had a sales and marketing that I worked with in the food industry.
Okay.
He started his own company, and we were talking one day, and he said, "I need somebody to do some part-time work for me and help me out down on the coastline." And I said, "Well, if I decide to move somewhere, that's where I'd move." And, I said, I'd have to have something pretty much full-time. And he said, "Well, this wouldn't be a full-time thing. I just have to call you, periodically." And so I thought about it and pondered about it. And my mother passed away in 2001.
Okay. Yeah.
And I said to myself, well, I'm ready for a change. And I called Sam, and I told him, I said, "I do your part-time work down there." I called Gary Bass and said, "How much work can you give me at Harold?" He said, 2-3 times a week. I said, "Well, I can go down and make a living doing this."
Yeah.
So I moved to the beach in 2001.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's your transition.
And then from that, I got a call from Billy Scott. Billy said, "Ray, I was at the beach this past week, and I went by WNMB, 900 AM, WNMB. And I said, I was talking with Bill Norman. I told him, I said, you got one of the top radio DJs that's moved here to the beach. You ought to get him to do a beach music show." And Bill Norman said, "Well, tell him to come talk to me."
Wow.
So Billy told me that, and I went by and sat down with Bill, and I started doing Friday afternoon Ray Scott's Original Beach Party on WNMB 900.
Let's back up just a second. Don't forget where we are.
Yeah.
Now, Billy Scott, you seem to have had a good relationship with him, and he was your first booking as a chairman of the entertainment committee.
Yeah.
Did you know Billy before that?
Yes, I had known Billy through the radio station because Tom Desio, do you remember the name Tom Desio?
Yes.
Okay, Tom and Billy were friends.
Okay.
And that's how I got with Billy to start with.
Oh.
To call him because I knew him and Tom were friends, and Billy had come to the radio station some, and so that's why I called Billy first, because he was the first one I thought about.
Yeah.
Because I knew Billy. Yeah. So anyway, I started doing the Friday afternoon Ray Scott's Original Beach Party on WNMB on Friday afternoons, and doing that show. And from there, it came in 2003. It was in December. I won't forget it. And I'm walking into Fat Harold's, and Fat Harold hollers at me, and I look over, and Harold's sitting in a booth with Harvey and Celine Graham.
Really? Yeah.
And he said, "Come here." And I walked over, and Harold said, "Harvey wants to talk to you a minute." And for some of those that are new in it, Harvey Grant was the owner of WVCO 94.9 The Surf.
Yeah.
And he said, "Ray," said, "how would you like to go to work for The Surf?" And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Come next month, we're going to have an opening for our afternoon drive from 3 to 7. And we're going to be hiring somebody to take that show. And I want to know if you'd be interested in taking that show." And I said, "Well, Harold's been so good to me, and I'm DJing here at Harold's." And Harold said, "No, you do that." And Harvey said, "No, you can still DJ at Harold's. We want you to. We want you to be seen. That's what it's all about, to be seen out there. Be out there on the street, be seen." And so I met the next day with Harvey and Earl Taylor, who was the general manager at the time, and we discussed, talked, and I went to work the first Monday of 2004.
Really?
94.9 The Surf, doing the afternoon drive from 3 to 7, following two of the legends of all time in beach music, Billy Smith and Ted Bell.
Yeah.
And we had a great team there for 5 years till Billy passed away.
Yeah.
And then Ted and I were together for another 2 more years for 7 years. And that was a cream of beach music right there. And I tell you, that was some of the times I'll never ever
Great
forget.
mentors were.
Yes, great mentors. And sometimes you have to be a little bit conceited.
Yeah.
We were that three lineup right there was as good as any that's been in beach music ever and anywhere. I tell you. It was
absolutely.
We got to the top.
That's true. I can't even imagine anybody that wouldn't love that three all day. It's an all day long job listening to the three of you.
And that's where it was, and stayed there until Harvey passed away, and everything got wrapped up in an estate. And that's when, if you remember, the surf went dark.
Yes.
So we had to do something.
That section.
And what am I going to do? What we're going to do? We had a couple people, this, that, and the other. How are we going to manage? And the thing just came up that the future's in internet radio, and let's just get together and let's start a internet station.
Okay.
And so,
this was about what year?
This would have been 2011.
Okay.
Been 2011, and we got together and started on that. And myself and I had 4 other guys with me that all were involved with the surf. Myself, Ricky Dennis, Freddie Priest, Joey Bourne, and John Hendrickson. We all had ties with the surf, and we started YourBeachMusic.com.
Okay. Yeah.
And that lasted with all of us up to about 2017, and there was a little friction. You can always mend,
yeah.
but there was friction there, and we split. Ricky and I went one way. John had already got out, was just doing computer work. He was helping us, but he wasn't in the partnership.
Okay.
And Ricky and I went one way, and the other guys went the other way, and I said, "Well, what are we going to do?" And Ricky called me and said, "I talked to John. And John said if we wanted to do another internet, he'd set it all up for us." And so we started, the three of us, Riptide Radio in 2017. And now we're still going today.
That is a great story. Oh, yeah. Not only going strong.
going strong. We were totally surprised about that. But Wayne, beach music is a family, and I don't consider it competition. I get along great with all the folks right here with the surf here we're just a blocks away. I get along great with them. All the good friends in beach music, all DJs, everybody.
Well,
I just enjoy it.
You're almost like two different markets complementing each other.
Well, true.
And that does nothing but strengthen beach music.
We all have the same listeners. They listen all around here, there. We know that, and that's great. I'm glad of that. And I'm glad for that, really in beach music. So it's so important.
But you're so right about it being a family. Beach music people are a family. And you treat them right, they're going to treat you right. They love you. They love the music. They love the DJs like you. I mean, look at Friday afternoon, how many people come to your deck party? When they can walk in and say, they crowd that place.
Who'd ever dream that thing would continue on like this? We're on 12 years now with that deck party.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it keeps getting stronger.
And, and people just, it's a lot of our same locals that come every week and enjoy it so much. And that's what it's all for, is for them to enjoy it. How many places, where in the country do you go and have a genre of music where your artists come by all the time and sit in there and talk and sing a song and, do whatever and mingle with the crowds? You got no other kind of music where they do that. Not like we do. We
I
have them
never
everywhere.
thought about it, but you're so true.
Yeah, I mean, we have them, left and right all the time coming by there. And with internet, as we all know, you're with your radio, you've got a certain area that you will extend to.
Yep.
Internet, you can go all over the world.
Yes, right.
And we've got people that come up at the deck party on Friday and say, we're Jane and Bill, and we're from Buffalo, New York. And we found this on Friday afternoons, and we came down to the beach, and we just had to come here and see this.
Well,
and now they see it.
Yeah, I hear the call out, the shout outs that y'all do to the people that are checking in. I mean, they're from all over the United States. Some of them Europe.
Yeah. We got a couple of regular listeners in Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, they listen every day.
I love it.
So it's all about that. It's all about that.
Well, let's talk a minute about music, beach music itself. First of all, what is beach music?
What is beach music? That question gets asked to everybody, entertainers, DJs, everybody. And there's, if you had Webster's dictionary, there'd be so many different definitions of beach music in it, And when I look at beach music, I look at it basically as back in the day when you had your radios stations would not play some of the. It was sort of reggae-ish a little bit, but borderline. And some of those songs, a lot of that stuff, you had to come here to the beach on the jukeboxes to hear that. And the dance got in, and more from the jitterbug down to the slower shag. And when the shag dance became the state dance, there's a lot of beach music that's not shag dance.
Yes.
So you don't have to be a danceable, I don't think, to be beach music, but you just have to have that beach theme. There's a lot of beach music that's written about love and about the beach and about dance and about, going here and there. And exactly. So beach music's got that kind of, that feel. And, I think, when, a lot of our groups got to, really traveling around the Carolina areas and even parts of Virginia and Georgia and Florida. When you take the pioneers that got us started, like the Embers, the Catalinas, and then here comes the chairman of the board, the Band of Oz, Fantastic Shakers, go on and on and on.
Yes.
And they started playing and traveling all over, and that extended the style of beach music, and they got pinned as beach bands because they were playing here a lot.
Yes.
I mean, you could come here on a week. And you'd have the Shakers at Holiday Inn North. You'd have the chairman of the board at the club right here where not 2001, but the club that was right there where the dollhouse is.
Yeah.
And there you'd have the Embers of the Landmark, and you'd have Catalinas down at the Holiday Inn Surfside. Oh. And the next week they'd be flipped.
Oh, okay.
And so, all of our bands got pinned as beach music band, because they were here all the time. And I kind of think that's the way the music got it too, because it was here at the beach. And, our dance. And so I always say, what kind of DJ are you, Ray? I said, I'm a beach and shag DJ. Because everything I play on the radio is not danceable, but it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be to be beach music.
Some of them are a little slow, some of them are a little fast. But, I have found, and correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes the song, it depends who records it. If it's one of our beach music consistent bands or artists, then it automatically is accepted by the beach community.
Exactly. I mean, we have, we always know it, we call it groupies.
Yeah.
Jim Quick, they were cosign crazy.
Cosign crazy, absolutely.
But we have those ones, and they can do the worst song in the world, and it'll still be great because people love them. They love the coastline crazy. And so, whatever your group does, they like. And so, I like all the bands there, all the artists, everybody in the business. I love them all. It's just a tribute to be close to all of them, and and how it all turns out, in beach music.
Well, from the other side of that radio, it's great for us to have someone like you that loves the music, knows how to listen to it, knows how to play it. You know how to put them in order so you keep the excitement, but you still get all the good songs in. I mean, every song isn't exciting, but a lot of good ones out there, and you do that as well as anyone. But look at the experience you've got. Wow, I had no clue. Well, tell me, what is your favorite group?
Now, see, you put me on the spot. Because I love,
Okay, I'll give you two.
I love, yeah, no, I love all the groups. Don't get me wrong. I love all of them, but you also got to go back within your heart, and there's no way I could ever say that the Fantastic Shakers weren't my favorite group of all time.
Yeah.
Not because they were better than anybody. I mean, they were good, but not they were better, but because I was close to them.
Your relationship.
I talked to them. Bo was the best man in my wedding.
Really?
With Charlene and I got married.
Oh, I had no clue.
Yeah. I met Charlene in 2001.
Yeah.
Back when I was in the surf, I was doing the Wednesday night. We did a live broadcast from 2001 on Wednesday.
Didn't y'all recently have an anniversary?
Yes, so our 15th.
Yeah,
15.
Right.
And so I met Charlene in 2001 on a Wednesday night when I was doing the beach thing, and then we ended up dating, and then ended up going together for years, and now we've been married, and we've been together 21 years, been married 15. But Bo was my best man in my wedding.
Wow, I had no clue.
Yeah.
Well, there again, that goes back to the relationship. But doesn't a relationship with one good band like that help you extend?
Oh, yeah. Oh, very much. I was fortunate to be involved in an unfortunate situation when Craig had and the Embers had their little deal.
Yeah.
That didn't work out.
Yep.
And I know Craig's told his story. He wouldn't sign a contract. And, Craig reached out to me a little bit about starting a band. And I got involved really with the CWB, with the Craig Willard Band.
Yeah.
And, I DJ'd and MC'd their first job they did.
Really?
At Fat Harold's. That was their first official job. And, so I got to know Craig on the inside more than just on a stage, because we got to be good friends. And, we talked a lot and did a lot and together, and through that process of the CWB, which I really loved all those boys. And, I did 12 cruises with them.
Really?
Me and as the MC, and of course I had some other DJs with me. I had Gary Bass one year, had Pat Patterson, had Chad Sane, and had Gene Star. And we did the Making Waves cruise. I did that 12 years.
I didn't realize that I knew it was a pretty long.
Now, excuse me, let me go back. Part of that was the Embers at the end. After you go back with the Embers.
Oh, well, okay, good.
But probably, let's see, what did we do? CWB 6 or 7? Something like that.
I was thinking like that.
Every year they were together, we did the cruise, the Making Waves cruise. Yeah, with Judy Collins and us. Yeah.
Ember's got some great guys, and I tell you what, I got to spend some time with Bobby not long ago. I was up at Doug Manning's house.
Mm-hmm.
What a story he is.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Look forward to getting him in here one day. But
oh, my gosh.
knowing the people and you working with them, you got stories. You know the people probably better than anybody I talked to because of where you've been.
Yeah. It's been fun, and it's how long will the run go? People say, how long you do this, Ray? I'm saying, as long as my feet will touch the ground and I can keep going,
You just answered my next question. What do you see in the future for Ray Scott and for Riptide Radio?
Just as long as we can go. We're not into Riptide Radio to be a big financial horse in the business. In business, yes. Not this, but in business. Ricky's retired. John's retired. This is just kind of a something to do to stay active, because we want to stay. I'm the young guy in our group. Well, excuse me, I'm older than John, but I'm the young guy in the working group.
In the working group,
So as long as they can keep doing what they do, their parts. We all have a part we do. John takes care of all the computers. Ricky does the sales, and I do the on air. So we're fortunate to have Johnny B, one of your friends.
Yes,
he's been a great asset to us.
And he loves it.
And he can do the show in his pajamas. If he does this with you, he's gonna probably wear his pajamas.
But the time's going to come. But I may have to wear a shirt on top of his pajamas. But you're right. He's very relaxed in and his approach to beach music. But he's such a great DJ, and he loves working with you. He absolutely ripped out. I've had this discussion with him a number of times.
He works and works and works. He's the workingest guy. I tell you what, I don't.
He does more shows. I mean, the DJ jobs he does on top of the shows he does. 5 for you in a week, and usually one on WSGE when he can on Saturday when he's not out of town.
And then he's always played at least 2, sometimes 3 nights during the week.
But that's the way you were for years.
That's the way I was for a while. Yeah, it was back in those early late '90s, early 2000s. That was me. I was maybe not quite as much as Johnny B, but close. But close. Did a lot.
Well, we're coming up on time here already. Would you? I told you when we started, it flies.
It does. It flies by.
Yeah. We were talking about the deck party earlier, and the following that you have at the deck party, being both the beach music family, all the artists that come by, new people that come in town, and they come by. I've heard about this deck party. I want to go see what's going on, and people love it. But I think there's one particular part that they really like of that day. I'm gonna say right around 6 o'clock, you have not a habit, you have a tradition. You have a tradition, and I think you call it the 6 o'clock Fireball. Well,
Fireball Friday, 6 o'clock.
Fireball Friday. Well, I think I think we need to close this podcast with a toast from Mr. Ray Scott, and I want to hear the same one that you give on Fridays, which I have heard many, many, many times.
Can I tell you one quick thing about
Please
this?
do.
So how this came about back in the COVID time. We didn't want it to die. And so we would have the deck party in my garage or Scott Biddy's garage every Friday. And one day, Chad Sane told me and Scott, said, y'all need to do a fireball shot. And so we developed the Fireball 6 o'clock shot.
And it has grown. It has grown and grown.
Grown and grown. So we'll pretend like it's 6 o'clock on Friday night, Wayne. And
we'll release it at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we say up to it, round to it, down to it. Let's do it.
Is that not good? Folks, you have just been treated to one of the best stories, both life-wise and beat music-wise, that I have heard. And I can't thank you enough, Ray, for taking the time to come by and have this conversation with me.
Well, I'm loving it.
People loving it. I guarantee you. When you hear this, this thing comes out, people are going to be begging, when you going to let it go? When you going to let it go? So I'll do a little release ahead of time. Folks, if you want to see this, you can always, first of all, if you want to hear it, go to surfsidestories.com. Click on the link and it takes you right to Spotify where you can listen to it like when you drive in the car. If you want to see it, go to YouTube. Look up Surfside Stories. Go to it has all of our podcasts. I think we've got 21 out now. All of them right there. And as of a few weeks ago, now we're also on Roku TV on the Beach Music TV live station. So you have lots of options of where you can see this podcast. And any podcast, let me tell you, when the time comes, people are going to love this. And Ray, again, thank you so much. Thank you. Folks, we'll see you again next week.
Thank you, Wayne.